Yeah, we hug. When I said goodbye to her, we hugged, like a slight hug.
Okay.
That's.
Let me be a little bit more specific. Your DNA went off her underwear.
What? I don't see. What?
It's not about C-Rain, John. It's truth.
Yeah, truth. It's impossible for my DNA to be on her underwear.
That's what we like to think too, brother, but...
The small town of Reddick in Marion County, Florida could pass for a rural heaven. With its railroad and agricultural roots, it's the perfect place for the less than 500 people who live there to really slow down and enjoy life at a slow pace. But one day, something happened to shatter all of their tranquility into pieces, leaving cuts that will probably keep on hurting forever. It happened in the early hours of Sunday, June 9th, 2024, when Marion County Police responded to this desperate 911 call from a non-agenarian.
911, what is the address emergency?
I'm being raped.
Someone had broken into her house and sexually assaulted her. Although her voice was shaky and thick with the horrified stammers of the nightmare that she had just been through, she made her report.
Oh, please hurry. He's gone, I think, but I've locked the bedroom doors. Hurry.
How many minutes ago did this happen?
It just happened. I'm still bleeding from it. 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. I mean, he's been here 10 minutes or 15 minutes wrestling with me.
Okay, and I just want to get his description. Is he white, black, Hispanic?
I can't give you his description. I was in the bedroom and it's dark.
All right. Do you know how old he was?
He wasn't old. He was a young man.
Okay.
When y'all get here, there's a bunch of Mexicans around here. I know he was Mexican from his talk.
She seemed to now nail her assailant's identity to being Mexican, saying that he had spoken with a Mexican accent, and that there were some Mexican neighbors around her who might have done it. Around the area, there were a gang of young delinquents whom she also thought could have been the ones who had attacked her, but there hadn't been any weapons involved in the attack. When they arrived at the scene, the house had scars of what had happened. The front door was ajar, and there was an ominous silence that hung in the air. As for the woman, she was badly bruised all over her body and had suffered a concussion, and was still in visible shock. But she still managed to recount what had happened to them. According to her, the attack had happened late the previous night on June 8th. She had been asleep in her bed when she was suddenly woken up to a stooped figure coming down the hallway toward her own bedroom. As soon as the person got inside, he jumped on her and immediately punched her in the face when she tried to fight back. Afraid, she began praying, "Dear God, please help me." But her attacker only told her to shut up. Instead, he continued beating her and eventually tore off her underwear before sexually assaulting her and then running away. When police would try to ask questions of neighbors living around the woman's vicinity, the story remained the same, that they hadn't seen anything happen. But one thing was for sure, many of them couldn't believe what had happened, and this traumatic event had scarred everyone there for life.
We live around the corner, we ain't seen nothing. But she's so sweet, why would they do something like this to her? I'm so mad.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Hey, did you see anybody run through here or anything?
Got some body yards, but I've been went in the house at 9:30 to eat dinner.
Okay.
And came back out with my son, said he saw one of the cars.
Oh, okay.
So I was sitting there for a minute.
It had been midnight, and the lights weren't switched on, so she hadn't exactly seen who it was that had abused her. But from the blood and bruises all over her body, it was very clear that she had been violated. But still, the attacker remained at large. However, during the course of their interview that night, they found a teen on a bike who had a bloodstain on his shirt. Now, police were picking every and any piece of evidence that they could get their hands on. And so, with the approval of his grandmother, who was his guardian, they were able to get a swab and some DNA. 8 days later, the results of the DNA tests that they had run on the woman were released. What was inside those documents was a chilling realization. The DNA samples in the victim's underwear matched with the DNA samples that they had gotten from that boy. His name was Jesse Stone, a 14-year-old boy who lived around the 91-year-old victim. Authorities rushed over to his high school to get their hands on him. He was quickly brought to the sheriff's office handcuffed. When he would be confronted by detectives, the interrogation took place with his grandmother by his side.
So, we sent your DNA and the sex kit up to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, who does the testing stuff for stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay, is there any reason at all that your DNA would be on her clothes?
Yeah, we when I said goodbye to her, we hugged, like a side hug.
Okay.
That's...
Let me be a little bit more specific. Your DNA was on her underwear.
What?
Detectives wasted no time in questioning Jesse about the specifics of the case. But, of course, he wasn't just going to confess so easily. But with this cold, direct question, you could tell that his vague, evasive answers wouldn't hold out for much longer.
Really use this time here to be honest with me about what happened that night, because...
I don't see... What?
It's not about seeming, John. It's truth.
Yeah,
Truth.
It's impossible for my DNA to be on her underwear.
That's what we like to think too, brother,
But Jesse was still adamant. It wasn't him, it couldn't be him. Not even his grandmother's impassioned nagging would get him to agree to it.
She deserves the truth to be told, and you know it. Personally, I can't believe that this is a horrible thing with you, John. That's a horrible thing.
I don't even have the ability to do that.
Well, it's hard for me to believe, too. It's really hard for me to believe, too, that you would do a thing like this.
I didn't.
But how many times have you been caught in lies?
I know.
And this is the whole reason why you're on restriction. It's because you're not telling the truth about things. If this woman deserves to have the truth, she deserves it, and you know that.
What?
I've never seen you hurt anybody, but
I don't want to hurt.
what the hell are you doing outside at that time of night? It doesn't make any sense. Do you understand? Ready, John, it doesn't make any sense. There's a million different things you can do. Being outside where you don't belong, and you know you don't belong out there.
I'm sorry, but I'm an outdoorsy person.
You're not an outdoorsy person. You're a sit in front of the TV kind of guy.
When I don't have TV, I'm outside.
Well, I don't know. I hope and pray you did not do this to this woman.
didn't.
I hope and pray. I hope and pray you did not do this. Because this is horrific. We've been down that road before where you've been lying about something and you swear up and this.
It was pretty understandable now why she kept on pushing. Jesse had lied in the past, so if there were supporting antecedents, there was a high possibility that he was repeating the behavior. Eventually, she left the room, giving detectives the opportunity to wring the truth from her grandson.
Well, let's imagine that this is the pillow. Show me what you would do. Like if she was kind of in front of you, show me what you would do.
I was just kind of like holding it there so she couldn't really see me. And I was holding it down a little harder, closer to her mouth so she couldn't really scream or yell.
Okay. And at some point you said you told her to what did you say? To be quiet?
I didn't say anything, I don't remember.
Okay, I thought you said that. You told her.
Initially, during questioning, he had confessed to watching video content on the woman's iPad. He had claimed that he had just watched YouTube videos, but of course, that was highly unlikely. Eventually, upon the interrogator's urging, he did confess to having physically assaulting her.
I need you to take this off your heart, man. So I don't buy the whole I don't remember, because I know you remember. I don't think you're some cold-hearted killer that doesn't remember. Because we deal with those kinds of people too, man. But I don't think Randy John's that guy. So, tell us what happened.
She was trying to move the pillow for a minute or so. And she started grabbing my shirt. And that's when I let one of my hands off the pillow to try and get her hand off my shirt. And she was able to move the pillow. So I put both my hands on her face, one on her eyes and one over her mouth. She grabbed hold of one of my arms thought she was still, like, laying down, but she was sitting up, so my hand was pretty quick. I'm not sure where I hit her at, but...
Did you have like a fist, or was it like a slap, or?
I think it was more of a slap.
Okay.
Because I was trying to put my hand back where it was on her mouth.
Okay.
I started trying to find something I could use to wrap her arms up.
Did you find anything?
I was trying to get the blankets I could, but she kept moving her arms around. I couldn't quite get them where I could wrap them with the blanket.
When she kept on resisting, he began beating her. But this teenage thug was not nearly done with his horrifying acts, as he soon began looking for something to restrain the victim with.
She was moving her legs around a lot, and I was just trying to get her to stop moving.
Okay. Is that why you got on top of her?
I believe so.
You believe so or you know so? That's what I'm trying to understand, man.
I don't remember everything.
I know you remember, Randy. When we've already gone through that, I know you remember. Is this something you're not going to forget? I know you remember.
How did it end up on the floor?
Went to pick her up to move her farther onto the bed. And I grabbed about where the waistband was to pick her up. She like twisted or something, and my arm slid down her legs. I'm not sure if that's when they came.
Where?
By now, detectives had grown tired of his fabricated memory problems. Jesse was still not willing to confess, but what he didn't know was that the police had already gotten a report from his victim. It contained one crucial detail. Jesse had thrown her underwear on the floor.
I feel like every time we're coming to something that's really difficult to talk about, right, John? You're telling me you don't remember. So what I'm trying to understand, man, is you're out there in her living room watching YouTube, and then you're watching pornographic material. Well, I get it, man. I've been 14 before. I've been an adult. It's a totally normal and natural thing. What I'm trying to understand, man, is it went from progressing from you being in the living room to going into her room, and then her underwear is on the ground. Help me understand that. Because I want to believe you, Randy John, but I don't know if what you're telling me is plausible. I think the reason you went into that bedroom was to have some sort of sexual relations with.
No.
Tell me.
I went in there to make sure she was still asleep. Woke up, she grabbed my shirt.
I believe that. I 100% believe that. What I'm trying to understand is how a 14-year-old young man goes from watching pornographic material in the living room and probably was aroused by that, and that's fine, totally natural, to going into this old woman's bedroom and then progressing to tying her up and putting her arms behind her back. I don't think that's how you planned on it going down. I think you did panic. I think that's reasonable.
There was a strong possibility that he might have panicked and done this stupid something, but some of the other dots were just not connecting.
Stop now, and no one would know, or something like that.
She said that to you? And what did you say?
I didn't say anything, I just let go of her.
Okay.
I grabbed her pillow and I put it on her head so that if she turned it, she wouldn't see me. Then I went to my house. When I went to open our screen door, I noticed that there was blood on my hand here. So I went over to our hose and I washed it off.
Okay.
And my shoes got wet, so I took them off.
How old were you when you started watching the porn videos?
showed them to me when I was 10.
10. So you've been watching them since you were 10?
Off and on, yeah.
Okay. How often do you think you were watching them before you got put on restriction?
Once or twice a week.
But when he would be questioned further, it turned out that this hadn't just been an accident. Jesse had actually had this coming a long while ago. That night, he had viewed pornographic video content on the victim's iPad, but that wasn't the first time. It wasn't the 10th time either. Jesse had been using porn since he was only 10.
Okay, and what site do you normally use?
Oh, the XNXX.
XNXX, and that's all it's called? You just put that into Google, XNXX?
Yeah, that was the website my friend showed me.
Okay.
The victim had said that her attacker was Hispanic, but it turned out that she had been awfully wrong. The guy was someone she trusted, someone who had come over to her house more times than she could count, just to check on her and maybe get some free food. But eventually, he had turned heel and betrayed her in the nastiest way possible. Forensics were out and Jesse's testimony had already been secured. It was time to take this case to trial. Initially, he kept up with the same innocent act that he had shown the detectives, but by November of 2024, he initially pleaded guilty to the crime. By February 7th this year, it was sentencing day.
His brain was nowhere near fully developed when this incident happened and is still probably 10 years off from that being the case. He had a relatively difficult childhood. He had no father figure in his life whatsoever. And certainly none of this is an excuse or a justification by any means for what happened. He is remorseful about what happened. You've heard testimony about that. He pled guilty. But he, lost contact with his sister, I believe shortly before this happened. He very minimal contact with his mother, and he was essentially raised by his paternal grandmother.
And for that reason, he argued that Justin would benefit from special psychological and sex offender treatment.
Despite all that, he's done fairly well in school. He got ahead of grade, made pretty good grades, A's and B's, I believe it was. We believe that indicates that he would be amenable to supervision as well as specialized sex offender treatment. As the state points out, he does suffer from depression and ADHD. And obviously there are plenty of people that have depression and ADHD that never get involved in anything like this, but that combined with his childhood certainly doesn't help.
But Circuit Judge Lisa Herndon wasn't in any way impressed.
All right, Mr. Stone, this is unfortunate for you, for the victim, for both of your families. I'm going to start with count 2. It's a burglary of a dwelling with a battery, which is punishable by up to life in prison. You're adjudicated guilty and sentenced to 25 years in the Department of Corrections. That's going to be followed by 30 years of sex offender probation. You're going to have to follow the sex offender probation conditions set forth in 948.30, which includes sex offender treatment, a variety of other things, including polygraphs, no use of the internet without a risk assessment, no contact with children under the age of 18. I don't know that that's going to be applicable in this case, but I assume all those are still going to apply. You cannot have any contact with the victim in this case, which means that no phone contact, third-party contact, no contact in any manner whatsoever.
Throughout the sentencing, Jesse appeared to not have a visible reaction. He looked ahead, appeared to listen to the judge as sentences were imposed, and nodded occasionally. 25 years in prison was the punishment that this teenage rapist received. He also received 30 years of sex offender probation. But that wasn't all. Jesse would have to register as a sex offender and enroll in anger management classes. He'll be nearly 40 years old when his jail term is over, and would have to register as a sex offender. But what do you think of all that? Was Jesse's sentence a little too long, or did he deserve the jail term the court gave him? Let us know in the comments.